Hello, and welcome back, Facebook community, with me, Clare, expert educator, founder of the Switch On Academy and the Home Education Hub. I am delighted and excited to be hopping in here with you again today to talk, and I've got a very special and lovely guest joining us. The beautiful Georgia is here with me this afternoon, where we're going to be talking really a little bit about how we can elevate learners, how we can support children who are perhaps are empaths, who are our highly sensitive children, who maybe are really suffering with so much screen time right now, and who really need to perhaps have some alternative ways of managing the stresses that we're all under. So I would love to know, when you're popping in, please do pop your name below, tell us where you're coming in from, how old your children are, how you're feeling right now, because our energy as parents is obviously felt by those around us in the house as well. And even though we can be putting on a brave face and saying we're fine, if we're stressed, our children are going to pick up on that. And we're going to talk around some of those things today with Georgia, who is amazing. She's an amazing soul. She's going to tell us a little bit about what she does. And we're going to talk about, obviously, yoga for children and how that helps them have balance in their life. But also for children who are, our crystal children, right? Our light worker children. If you're sensing that is something that you want to feel into today, we're going to be talking about that a little bit too. Okay, so without further ado, I'm not going to rabbit on anymore. Here is the lovely Georgia.
Hello, everyone. Hi.
It is so lovely to see you here again in the Home Education Hub, Georgia. And you were one of the first people that I spoke to when we were locked down at the beginning, way back when in March, and here we are again, right? But it feels very different this time. And before we get into all of that, first of all, tell us who you are, what you're doing at the moment with your yoga practice, but also how your work is developing into other realms as well.
Yes, I mean, it's always been a background of other realms, I think. But the main forefront is what you are and what I'll be demonstrating here will be yoga and mindfulness for children. And I also am a spiritual facilitator, so I help people, adults and children, through their spiritual journey, because this is what we're all going through. This is who we are. And it's a part of our life that is kind of missing in our Western society. And this tends to be why we do demonstrate anxiety and stress, because that element is missing and we're in that hustle and bustle. And I think our direction of who we are is a little bit lost. And it's about coming back to that and finding that wholeness within.
Absolutely.
So that's what I do.
It's so beautiful. It's such important work. And, this is why, our paths have crossed a few times, because I'm creating the quantum curriculum to open up discussions. So to almost give parents a platform so their children can do these courses. But of course, with curious questions comes, conscious conversations. And it's opening up this dialogue for people to begin to explore their spiritual growth and development and their journeys, and to support their children with that as well. So tell us a little bit about how yoga and mindfulness is almost like a nice gateway in to into this kind of work. What are some of the benefits for children of doing yoga?
Well, for children, because they are very intuitive already, they're so sensitive to their environment and what's going on, and they need that stability. They need something and it's a tool for them to deal with that sensitivity, because even as adults, we all absorb everything that's going on throughout our day. So if we've had someone tell us off, or if we've had a stressful experience, if we've had trouble learning math equations or spelling new words, that's going to be frustrating. And we need to offload, we need to let go of that. And the way that we do that is learning how to use our breath how to move our bodies, because our body, as much as when we're moving a muscle, we're stretching that muscle, it's stretching the muscle, but it's also the energy that's held within the muscle. So you've got all these meridian or pressure points that are in this area. And when we move and open up that, so when we're opening up our chest, we're opening up that chakra. At every body part that we open up these energy points, and that releases the energetic pressure of that experience. Stress, anxiety, they are energy, feeling, isn't it? It's a sense, it's a feeling, it's not a physical thing, but we feel it in our body. So we move it out the body through the asana practice of yoga.
Amazing. Yeah. And, so getting children to move safely. So obviously with online at the moment, we can't come to your yoga classes. So are there any kind of safety things that parents should put in place before their children start doing yoga? Even if they're guided with you, like you've said that you're going to hop in here just for, maybe up until middle of February or so, giving us some little tasters of children's yoga. How can parents, if they've not been trained as a yoga practitioner, how can they make sure their children are moving safely through the different positions?
I think be there with them. Do and join in if you can. Obviously, if you're pregnant, I wouldn't advise that, because you would want to follow along with pregnancy yoga, which are postures that support the pelvis and you're going through a lot of change in the body. And I can't be there to know what stage you're at and how to change the position for you. But being there with your children and supporting them, making sure that you have a safe space for them to do it. But yoga is very gentle, and when I teach yoga, I'm not going to teach you how to do handstands or anything like that, because the direction that I'm going on is that it's going to be for everybody, that we do things that we can all do. They're very simple. There's not a lot of strain or effort into it. It's just that movement to get the body moving in ways that you're not doing when you're sitting very sedentary, on your computer. It's going to be to loosen that up, work through the spine, because it's really important that we have a nice supported spine.
Yes.
And that we're opening up. And it's all gentle. It's all for everyone to access. And although, yes, you can't access my yoga classes that I used to do in halls and schools and things like that, but I have now got an online platform. So it's on my website that you can sign up. So you've got 14 days free, and they're just all there. So they're there for you to try different styles. If they're little ones, they can do some yoga stories.
Yes.
Or I've got classes that are just simply going through the different postures.
That's so beautiful.
Also just have meditation.
That's so amazing. Yes. And I mean, I've noticed, you talk about the spine, and also it's that core strength, because I've noticed my son, if I sit sideways, even when he's in the kitchen, he's slouching over his computer, he's slouching over his food, he's slouching over his phone. Like so many of us, our necks, we're walking around our day like this. Right. Yeah. And, so to have those alternative stretches and to be just mindful of that. I notice even when I'm doing my walk, that I'm looking down, it's cold. I've got my fleece up. I've got my hood up. I'm making sure I'm not stepping in all the puddles and sliding in the mud. So I'm even walking with my shoulders up and my head down. And so I'm still scrunched even when I'm moving. And I've just become really aware of this now, sitting back and up and down and this pressure that we have at the top of our spine. So, have you noticed that more as well with people who are, all of us having to be online on our computer at the screen, sedentary for most of the day?
I think it's just that we need to be more considerate of our bodies and not just vegetate on there. And not that you're vegetating because you're doing something productive on a screen. So it feels like you're doing a lot of work, but you're just in one place. So it's just about stopping every now and again, get up, do something. It doesn't even have to be yoga, just have a dance, do something that's going to just move the body.
Yes.
If there's anything that you can do while standing up, so you can, if you are able to prop your laptop up somewhere higher so that you can stand while you're typing. It's a lot better for you than sitting down, because we're then closing up our hips, you know, so this psoas muscle here gets really tight because we're just constantly bent. So we want to do, even if you just lie down, so if you're really aren't able to even then get up and do a lot, just lie down. Just pop a pillow underneath your bottom, and then this is going to lift your pelvis up, and it's just going to kind of open those areas up a little bit more. Very gentle, simple. You know, you can just do that. Just
yes, I love
that.
I love that. I mean, the thing is, it's about just becoming aware of it. And this is why we need specialists like yourself who, you know, I might be mindful of it, but just not quite sure what to do about it, right? And so this is where I think having conversation, you know, with somebody like you, Georgia, who can offer practical, safe, easy tips on, you know, moving and stretching and expanding and linking them in with that breath that you talked about before, that breath body connection, to really help alleviate that stress and to move those energies that are blocked in the body, to move those out and become aware of them. You know, this is so important right now. And of course, you know, people can't get out. I mean, you know, there are studies which are showing how little exercise children are getting now. You know, over 45% of young people aren't even doing an hour of exercise a day, right, with their young growing bodies. And so, you know, understandably, you know, with lockdown, they can't go swimming, they can't do their netball and their football and their gymnastics and all these things that some children love to do. And so being able to do something all together at home as a family in a simple, easy way, you know, is absolutely a godsend right now. So yes, talk us a little bit about your yoga stories. Obviously, don't give too much away because that might be some of the things we're doing. But how do the yoga stories work? How does that appeal to children?
It's just being more engaging than just our regular yoga that, you know, you and I would do, where we just learn about the postures and following the breath, this many breaths, you know, or whatever. You know, it just makes it more exciting for them. It's a story, you know, so they're doing the animal pose. If we're going to be going to the jungle, we can then start to think about being different animals. So we're just moving like them, which is actually how yoga began anyway. You know, that is, you know, they were seeing that these animals are doing all these stretches. You see a cat when they jump off after their big long sleep and they do their stretch. Dogs, you know, that's where you get the downward dog from. Yes. It's all about stretching in that way. But I just wanted to go back to something that you said earlier, and this is off subject of the yoga, but
no, it's fine.
Exercise is about walking. You know, we can walk, we can still go outside. You know, if you feel that, you know, you're not going to bump into people if you just walk around the streets, all around the roads, and cross the road if you need to. But, you know, you could go for an hour out just walking all together. What a lovely bond that is. And going into nature is actually extremely important because that will connect you to the breath, and we can use our breath as we're walking through nature. Do take the time, even if you can go out, you know, 10-minute walk in the morning and a 10-minute walk at night, maybe even at lunchtime. You could just all pop out after you've had your tea and just go for a quick little walk around. I think that's really important, that we make that time. We're not crushed into time anymore. We need to let go of the school structure of like having to be like at school. I mean, kids have lunch breaks, you know, throughout the day. So why not do it at home instead of just then having a break where you then go and watch TV? Just pop out for a quick walk around, or just play in the garden for a little bit. Do something that's outdoors.
Definitely. Yeah, and you know, here in the Northern Hemisphere, obviously we're in winter. There are people who are here from all over the world, so it's different weathers where people are watching. But you know, even here in the Northern Hemisphere, if you manage to get out and get some of that daylight, some of that vitamin D, some of that fresh air, connecting with the energy of nature, and just, even shaking out, moving your body, moving your big muscles around, it makes a difference. It provides oxygen for your brain to come back in and learn, right? It's really difficult to maintain sort of brain function if you're just sitting there all day in front of a screen, next lesson, next lesson, next lesson. Like, no one expects you to do that. And as you say, Georgia, if the children were at school, they'd be getting breaks. You have your lessons, you have your break, you have your mid-morning break, you have more lessons, you have your lunch break, you have more lessons, you have an afternoon break, and then you have the last lessons and you go home. So there are continuous breaks in a school day, and you can make sure, as you say, if there are lessons that you can do which have been pre-recorded, you don't have to do them in school time. Have a longer break while it's daylight after lunch, and then maybe work a little bit later on afterwards, whatever works for each individual family. And it is about that, isn't it? It's about also thinking about our needs, right? Rather than pushing through. Talk us a little bit about, because I know you're aware of this, even staying hydrated, right? I've got bottles of water on my desk because I'm talking all the time with the teaching. How can we make sure that we're having that element of self-care, tapping into that, moving when we need to move, drinking when we need to drink?
Yeah, just completely, just let it go, whatever we've learned before about a structure of a day. Of course we want to get up when it's sunlight, and we want to go to bed when it becomes dark in the evenings. That's going with the cycles. But we actually need to just nourish ourselves in the morning. Do you want to just get up and just dive straight into all this intellect, mind stuff? Or could you do something like just sitting and connecting to your breath for a little bit, sitting in the garden and connecting to the breath? No worries about the weather. The elements are good for you, to be in contact with the cold, to be out there in the snow. As long as you are warm, just wear a thermal, but it's good for us. It's a part of who we are. We are part of these elements as well. So it's about having that intuition to go, like you're typing away and go, oh, I'm feeling a bit groggy now. I'm going to stop and I'm going to go and do something else, because I can come back to it at any point. It doesn't serve you to keep on pushing through, because it doesn't become a good performance anymore, because you're not working to your full performance, because you're depleted. You need to, elevate your own energy. I'm sure you've had people on, I think, who do all the meridian tapping, and just being able to do that for a little bit. And I'd recommend just doing it outside. Even if you live in a flat, you can go out and just step out at the front and just do it. A lot of these flats have their own little gardens or areas. Just go into those little spots just to be with nature. If you can find a tree, go and be with a tree. Spend some time with trees, because they will teach you how to just be as one with nature, because this is who we are, and this is why we're having the change that we're having now, and this is why we need to come into that awareness, instead of feeling like we're scrambling for the old and we're trying to get back to this old way and try and hold this routine. This is life alchemy. It's breaking down so that we can actually begin to look after ourselves. We've pushed ourselves to the limit now of exhaustion as a whole society. So now what we're doing is we're coming back to our nature, our natural self, and that's being in flow with the natural rhythms. We can let go. Don't feel that you have to hold on, even if your school is pressuring you to get loads of homework done and loads of coursework and things like that. And this might sound controversial, but it just has to be that we let it go and allow our children to learn in new ways, because it's not new, it's actually the way that we've forgotten, and that is to tap in, understand ourselves, that we are vessels of higher consciousness. Everything already exists, and we just need to be aware of it and tap into that. And children have that ability. And then we sit them down in a sedentary position and tell them, this is life, this is exactly how things are. And then we make that choice as we get older, that we want to rediscover things for what they really are, or not. Sometimes we're still on that path of discovery, which a lot of us are. That's why with parents, I recommend that they take this time as well to allow things to fall away for themselves and find yoga, mindfulness, breath. If you feel the children are going through all this spiritual stuff, this is what I was saying to you earlier about that I've done a course for Starseed U, which is about raising a star child. So it's all about how can we help them and help ourselves to understand this new spiritual self that we're actually beginning to awaken and realize that that's what we are. We've not seen it because we've been so blurred with all the need to buy the house, to work the job, all throughout the whole day working. Sometimes we need a nap during that day. Sometimes we need to go for a walk and a break. And we've not had that opportunity until now. So take it, enjoy it.
Yes. And it's so exciting. It's so exciting that so many of us light workers are feeling that call to support our next generation, into stepping into that spiritual development. I mean, they're already there, the children. It's about helping us, the adults, to see what's really in front of us. The children don't actually need that education. They're already being it. They're already doing it. They're already living it. They already are it. They've already arrived as that, right? But it's about how do we create an environment where they can thrive and grow and untap that potential and have permission to fully step into that and to be recognized as those beautiful spiritual light being children who they are. That is the dilemma for the adults, because so many people don't want to go there. They don't want to go there. They want to stay blinkered. It's too hard to go there. It's too new to go there. It's too scary to go there. And of course, for us as adults, it's stepping outside our comfort zones because we no longer know the answers. And of course, all my lives this week have been about it's okay to not know the answers. We're all on this learning journey together. Life is a whole learning. It's a whole unknowing and a remembering. And so, our children need us to say it's okay to be you, and it's okay for us grown-ups to not know the answers. Do you agree with that? Do you think that's like a way of unlocking some of this amazing stuff that's happening right now?
Yeah, it's to know that, yes, we don't know everything, but we have the ability to know everything in terms of what's all within us. It's all within us. And we just need to sit with that, and what we're ready to receive will come. But going back to even that state of thinking that it's scary to think that that we're actually going to experience more fear or more disaster. In actual fact, the fear is that there is this change happening, and the reason that we feel that and the anxiety actually is the fact that we're coming into the state that we need to change. So it's not something to be scared of and think, oh, we need to repress that because it feels scary. It's coming up because it's like, oh, this is something to change. If this doesn't feel right anymore, it means that there's a new way of thinking for me. And it's to take that step forward, and it will actually allow you to feel a lot better, and it will be smoother running when you go in that flow of just letting that go. So let go of the fear of it being more fearful, and understand that the fear is trying to hold on to the change and it's not working anymore. So it feels like you're hitting all these walls, when actually when you just allow it to expand, you suddenly break all those fears away. I think I was explaining to someone about change and how it's interesting. We're in this experience. So example, you could be working in a job and it feels horrendous, but there's all these different implements of if you leave and if you do something else, you start thinking of all these different outcomes. What could it be? If I leave, I might not have any money. I might not enjoy the next job that I go to, or it might not be the right thing that I do next. You could think of all of those. You're still, but you're actually just going around in a cycle of feeling those feelings. Whereas if you realize that the reason that you're feeling like that is because that thing that is making you feel those things is uncomfortable. Whereas
Yes.
if you actually then move out of it, you move into the next thing, which then allows you to expand all this other stuff that you had no idea how wonderful it was. And it takes you on a whole new journey, but you had no idea that all those wonderful things were on that path and that journey, because you were still on that path and you were still
Yeah.
thinking about outcomes. So it's
Yes.
not to think of the outcomes, it's just to make the action in the present moment and allow what needs to be done to expand and enjoy. And that's really all things in life.
Yes.
So I hope that made sense to people, but that's what's happening. Your job, school, systems, our health, all of that is changing, but we can't see the future of that. We just have to allow it to be. And then it will happen in a more nourishing way. If we try and think of the outcomes, it's more stress than just allowing.
Yes, I suppose for our logical thinkers, our scientists and our mathematicians, it's very difficult to choose a new reality if you don't know what that is. Like normally when people are being given a choice, do you want item A or do you want item B? They say, well, what's in it for me? What are the outcomes? What do I get if I get item A, and what do I get if I get item B? And if you tell me what those things are, I'll be able to make an informed choice, right? That's how in a sort of capitalist society we're trained to work. Now the thing is, what's difficult about what you're asking and suggesting, and I totally agree with everything you've said, is that what we're saying is go with the flow, allow the change, allow the old things that aren't serving you to leave them and clear them from your life. But if people say, well, what is this new way? What's that look like? How do I know that I want to choose that? And we're saying we can't show you what that is. We just know it's going to be better. It's going to be more elevated. It's going to be easier. You're going to be tapping into a different vibration that's going to serve humanity in a different way, that's bringing the light in, right? Some of us feel into that, and that's good enough for us. And we go, I'm on board, show me the way, right? Other people are like, well, what does all that mean? What does that look like? And that's the thing that's difficult, because it's about surrender and trust to the unknown. And that is what can be very difficult for some people who, are logical people who want the outcome. They want to see the outcomes. With our scientists, it's like, right, if I do this and I do this and I add that and I wait for this amount of time, this is possibly what the outcome might be. And then you test it again and you test it again and you test it again. And then you get that over a certain amount of times. And then that becomes your scientific outcome, your experiment, right? But the problem is we've not experienced necessarily as a humanity this higher vibrational reality that is becoming our new reality. So it's difficult for people to understand that it's okay to surrender. It's okay that the old systems are going now. It's okay to say no to certain things. It's okay to say no to a structured school day. It's okay to say no to these things because something better is coming. It's hard to trust that is going to be the case, although many of us way showers and have known this for eons and even lifetimes, and have come back now with this information. It still is difficult for people to trust that this is the new way.
It's a process to take time with it, to learn to be in your heart, come out of the mind and come into the heart. This is why we have practices like yoga, qigong, meditation. You take on, at least, if anything, take on meditation and breathing. If you take on these two things daily, it will bring you into your heart space. It will allow those other things to fall away. Your mind will start to clear. It's a practice, which means it takes time. So overnight, you're not going to suddenly just start having these profound, blissful visions necessarily. That's why we keep with it and we keep going and allowing more and more to fall away.
Yes.
Trusting and surrender, it sounds foreign maybe now, and you might not understand the unknown, but the more you trust and surrender, the more you become to have a closer bond and a friendship with the unknown and understand it's actually just another aspect of you. It's a
Mm.
perspective of yourself that already knows and understands, that you haven't met yet because it's your future self,
That's right.
that's already living in that moment of those beautiful experiences, and it's coming through to tell you. And that might sound woo-woo to some people, but we need to start hearing it from that perspective, because there's no point hiding and trying to be logical about these things and trying to do it in the mind. It's not mind process anymore, it's heart.
It
It's all
is.
about coming into the heart and working
Mm.
from this place. In scientific terms, it's a magnetic field that transmits and emits, and
Mm.
that's how we all communicate. But we all
Mm.
keep here in the mind and think from the mind. We're not coming from here. We're
Yeah.
losing that part. So if you're thinking, well, what do I do next? Well, what brings you joy? Feel it in
Mm.
your heart. Really take that on and go with
Mm.
that. And trust that you will be supported. You are always
Yes.
supported, you know?
Yes. Yes. Absolutely. And this is how I've been able to, create and support and serve people during lockdown by going out for my walks in nature and releasing and surrendering to everything I think I should be doing, and just being guided, just tapping into that intuition and just asking, how can I best serve people right now?
Mm-hmm.
What is there, what is going to help raise humanity's vibration? What can I do next? And this is where I get my intuitive guidance from, and I come from this heart space, and I get out of my teacher's headspace. I get back into that when I'm actually creating the program or the online thing and getting people from A to B. But to get that idea, to get the idea for an online nativity show from people around the world, to get the idea from doing a writing program with children to all around the world to come together and create a book. Or my next thing, and it's interesting you've mentioned meditations, is mini meditations for magnificent minds, where I'm getting children to create and write and record their own meditations that they can use with their families, right? This was downloaded to me like 2 days ago. If you'd asked me a month ago, oh Claire, you need to design a meditation course, I would not have come up with that. Right? So it's this field of infinite possibility. And as you say, what brings you joy? What do you love? And if you come from your heart space and you get rid of all the things that you should be doing because you're a certain person with certain qualifications and blah, 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 like nobody cares about that anymore, right? Come from your heart space and and just ask, just think, what do I love? What can I do to serve my family, to serve my community, to serve my clients? And the ideas will come because they're already out there. They're already waiting to be downloaded. And is this how as well you have been able to, elevate and expand into this beautiful spiritual mentorship that you're doing in Starseed U? Like, how have you gotten your ideas for that? Is it same? Have they been intuitively downloaded?
Yes, definitely. They're courses that are very different, I think, to what we would consider a course. I tend to take people on meditations, visualizations, and I just get guided there and then at the time. We go somewhere and we work through it that way. I speak light language. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that, which is the language of the soul. It's spoken through the heart. This is the angelic presence. This is pure divine source communication. And I use that throughout some of the courses to help to activate people's energy fields, activate their light body so that they can begin to embody more of that in themselves. It brings more light into their body and enables them to move forward in that way. Yeah, so it's very the children's course, because I've got a light language course for children, for parents that for children that are speaking light language. It's kind of a bit for the parents as well. So it just allows them to not feel that fear about what is going on, because it's very different to anything that we've maybe experienced before in the Western society, of course, because I think that it's been going on for eons, you know, and if you look at shamanic culture and things like that. But it's there for them to understand that, you know, when your child might be speaking another language and you're not sure, or they're drawing certain weird things that just look like it means something but you're not sure, it just kind of goes through that guide of understanding what that is, what's really happening. It's because we're evolving. You know, the planet is shifting and we're evolving, and we're understanding things from a spiritual perspective now, as opposed to when in that mind and learning from that way. And we've also got the raising a star child. So it's just going through a lot of different things that help to enable children to live a life that really nourishes them. Because if parents feel that they've got a child that maybe even particularly be labelled having such things as, you know, ADHD, dyslexia, dyspraxia, all those different things. And it doesn't even have to be that. You may not have any kind of labelling as such, but they're just demonstrating that they have a connection to spirituality. They're feeling out the norm of society. And it's about giving them those ideas and suggestions on how that they can assist them. So it's like children tend to be very highly sensitive to the EMFs, food, even the material and the clothes that we wear. I've gone through all of this myself. I'm personally a very sensitive child, and still now. You know, I was labelled dyslexia, dyspraxia. I mean, they thought that there was, you know, I wasn't there. You know what I mean? I was very out of body as a child, and so it was only until now I've gone through all this process of what works for me. You know, having a cleaner diet, having Himalayan salt in my rooms, and using shungai, all those sorts of different things that I do to nourish me, and that I also help in my classes. I suggest to parents when they come to me with children, they're like, they're sensitive to this, they can't deal with that, you know, they can't. And I'm like, okay, well, these are the things that we can do. So I decided to create a course that does that and demonstrates that, and helps the parents to bring out their creativity, their joy, so that they can feel they can support their child on that path. Because if they're in a place themselves where they don't understand and they're going through change, we need to do it together. We need to change together and feel supported together. We can't just do it all for the child. It's the same as even putting your child all to do yoga, to do mindfulness, and all these things for your child got anxiety and whatever else. But likely is that you've got that as well. So if you need to do it together. So we need to all making the changes and putting in the practice daily for ourselves and as a whole family. When we work in a unison and all flow, then the changes will happen. No doubtably, your child will feel less anxious when their parents are less anxious, because we are all together living in the same household. We feel and sense what's going on for everybody, and we pick it up, and we tend to express and demonstrate, especially children, what's going on for our parents. So they're like our mirrors. If anyone's a mirror in your life, it will be your kids. You know, it will be someone in your family that you're very close to. And yeah, I agree.
Absolutely. I mean, children are our best teachers, because they're reflecting back to us exactly what we're putting out there, you know. And when we're triggered by them, that's exactly the area of growth that we need to consider, you know, for our own personal spiritual growth. So, you know, we're really blessed right now. You know, people who are at home with their children, they are so blessed to have this time together, you know, to create these different daily habits, rituals, to look at diet. You know, we've had nutritionists on here this week talking about, you know, cleaning up your diet, cooking together, rituals, conversations, connection, all this stuff is available to us now as families, and it really is the most incredible time for us to role model to our children all the things we wish we'd had time to do when we weren't so busy before. Right? This is really the time to take stock and, as you say, get rid of some of those timetables, get rid of some of that structure, and really think about what is important. What's important now? What really are those building blocks and those skills that we can give our children now, and that we have to model ourselves as well for them to learn and to develop these good habits. So about developing good habits, before we hop off, you have kindly said that you're going to do some yoga with us in the Home Education Hub, and you'll see that I've put a little survey in there, what times work best for people. I think that we said we would be doing that on Fridays at 10 o'clock, and many people have said that 10 o'clock in the morning is great. So that's fabulous. So thank you so much for saying that you would do that, just giving us a little taster on Fridays at 10 o'clock. Moving forwards, just maybe up until mid-February, and then we'll see what happens next. And of course, Georgia, if people want to continue working with you with the yoga, with the mindfulness, with the courses in Starseed You about supporting their star child, all of that is available. So we will make sure that we put all your links below. So just very quickly, if people do want to get in touch with you and find out more, where can they find you?
Yes, so you can either head over to Kind Kids Yoga and Mindfulness.co.uk, or you can even head over to CosmicHeartspace.com, which is where all the wacky spiritual stuff is held.
I love that. Cosmic Heart Space is that. I'm just going to pop those in the comments, and the other one, Cosmic. I think you did send me the links, but I'll pop them in now and pop them in again later. Cosmic Heart Space. Love that title. That's awesome. Cosmic Heart Space. What is it? .co.uk.
Com.
Oh, yeah, .com. .com. Perfect. And that's cosmicheartspace.com. There we are. That's in. Amazing. So thank you so much. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful lady. And I will see you in the Home Education Hub next Friday with my yoga pants on at 10 o'clock.
Everyone joining in, okay?
Yes, ready to do some
movement. Everyone. So I want parents and kids getting involved.
Absolutely, absolutely. And this is
let go. It's just it doesn't matter what you look like, how good you are, because nothing is perfect. Nothing has to be perfect. It's all about just showing up for yourself, as a family, showing up together to make that change, for that balance, for that peace.
And this is where it starts. Just choosing to take that action. So put that in your diaries now, 10 o'clock on Friday mornings in the Home Education Hub here with me and Georgia. I'll introduce you and then I'll get out of the way. You'll have the whole screen, so we'll be able to see what you're doing. I'm really, really looking forward to it. I know how much I need it anyway. So thank you so much.
We'll be doing lots of different things. Yeah. Lovely. Thank you all
for
having me here.
Yes, thank you, darling. We will see you soon. Have a lovely weekend. Take care, everyone, and we'll see you in the Home Education Hub soon. Bye.